this a metal thing?
Yes. Little taste.
David, what is this?
It's pretty thick.
Great.
I have to kill a lot of people. Just tell me what you want me to fuck.
I have big tits and a tiny vagina.
Oil me up, Daddy.
I can't believe that Bryce prefers big tits. Mistletoe alert. This is backcountry.
This guy was a real jerk.
How long can Hugo be pregnant?
Chomp, 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 chomp.
Oh, you're such a dick, David.
Okay, everybody, put on your corpse handling gloves.
Ew.
Hoodie Picasso.
Hello and welcome to Horror Movie Talk. Your panel of expert hosts each week are me, Dr. Bryce Hanson. I hold a PhD in spookology. And across from me sits David Day, the foremost expert in scare no-nos. New theatrical releases always get priority, but we also review older horror movies, both good and horrible. David, what's making you feel spooky?
Let me tell you what, it made me feel spooky, Bryce. Today we watched a movie called Green Room. Nothing scarier than white people. Let me tell you, those supremacists, when they come at you, they mean business.
We got a great show today. We'll be reviewing Green Room, as previously mentioned. Before we get started, check out our website at horrormovietalk.com. We post new episodes every Wednesday, so please subscribe on your favorite podcast platform. We also host Second Saturday watch parties on streamlounge.io, so if you want to watch a horror movie with us every month, you can do it that way. If you want to call and leave us a voicemail, call 682-253-4468. So how this episode will go, if you're new, we'll start out by giving a brief synopsis and review of the movie and our score. We score on a scale of 1 to 10. You know how 1 to 10 works. Like numbers, We practice all the time.
A,
counting.
B, C, D,
1, 2,
F,
3,
G,
4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
Is that so hard? Huh? I've never misfiled anything. Not once. Not one time.
After we give our score, we'll get into spoilers and take a deeper dive into what we liked and hated about the film. Later on, we'll be playing a new game called Color Me Titled.
Okay. I don't know. What does that mean?
You'll stick around and find out.
Okay.
So let's get into it. We went and we watched Green Room. And I did not see that coming.
Nazi. Bryce Hanson, you slay me.
We have fun here. Here's the trailer.
Okay, I'm with the Ain't Rights from Washington, D.C. You guys are hard to find. Want no social media presence?
Music is shared live. It's time and aggression. You gotta be there.
Sorry, guys, we gotta clear out. Follow me.
And then it's over. Holy shit.
I told you to follow. Hey, stop! No!
You can't keep us here. You gotta let us go.
We're not keeping you. You're just staying. We're so fucking dead, guys.
What do we do? Oh, shit.
This will be over soon, gentlemen.
What are they doing?
They're coming.
We gotta go.
And we die.
The longer we wait, the surer that is.
Is that a pep talk? Just grab some shit, get ready to run.
Here we go.
I see the bad moon horizon. I see trouble on the way.
They're everywhere!
You breathing? Let him bleed.
Careful now.
I can't die here.
So don't.
It's fucking hard, man.
It's fucking hard, man.
That's a song I did or two.
Green Room is available wherever movies are rented. I think it's also on Showtime.
Okay.
The subscription.
Although we are pre-recording this episode.
So who knows?
This
Could
is a
be
patron.
anywhere.
This is a patron pick
Yeah, this is a patron pick.
for April. Yeah.
Yep. So, Green Room is about death row guards at a penitentiary in the 1930s. They have a moral dilemma when their job, when they discover one of their prisoners, a convicted murderer, has a special gift.
Bryce.
What? Uh-huh.
It just seems like we might have watched different movies.
Oh, wait, that's the Green Mile.
Yes.
Sorry, I must be missing. Sorry. This one's about a working-class Italian-American bouncer who becomes a driver of an African-American classical pianist on a tour of venues through the 1960s American South.
Bryce.
What?
I think you may have done it again. I think that's might not be the right movie.
And what movie is it?
I don't know, but
Green Book? Oh, sorry.
Oh, okay.
Green Room is about a struggling punk rock band who lands a gig at a white supremacist bar.
There it is.
Since no one in the band is a person of color, they decide that that's fine. When they inadvertently stumble into a crime scene, they get trapped in the Green Room. See what they did there? Then Mirror Universe Captain Picard and his band of skinheads plot to kill them and stage a crime scene to cover up the crimes.
Hang on. Let's see if this works.
Captain Jean Picard of the USS Enterprise. 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 Captain.
Okay, Captain. That's enough of that. Captain Jean-Luc Picard of the U.S. It's hard to turn off because it's literally YTMND.
Uh-huh. So Green Room is worth seeing, but I think it gets a little overhyped as a quote-unquote hidden gem. I think the novelty of seeing Patrick Stewart as the bad guy gave this movie some legs, but it's essentially a run-of-the-mill thriller. There are some moments of gore in the latter half of the film as the band tries to escape, but a lot of people probably would have issue with classifying this as a horror movie. I don't care about these people.
Oh, yeah. This thing where you want to be like,
right.
This is not horror.
I'm guarding the gate. Personally, I think this film suffers because the main characters seem like a bunch of insufferable assholes, and I don't really care what happens to them. I mean, and really, all the character development that we're given is that they're hardcore punk, whatever that means, and they're desert island bands, I guess. No, we're really rooting for them because they like Massive Attack or whatever. I don't know.
The Cure. I don't know.
The situation is compelling, though, like the basic plot, and it generally kept me engaged for the duration. I wouldn't steer people clear of it, but I mean, it's a good movie. It's got some good aspects, but yeah, I think it gets way too much praise. That's kind of a weird thing to say. Like, oh, people always talk about how it's good. It's good, just not that great. I give it a 6 out of 10.
This is interesting because, number one, this is interesting for a couple of reasons. Number one, this proves that we aren't just A24 lip service fanboys who are just going to give everything A24 a great score. But it's also interesting because I remember a little bit bemoaning having to watch this, being like, the patrons are making me watch Green Room again. I had already watched Green Room, and I liked it okay. But I remember you being like, I like Green Room. Mm-hmm. Did something, was your second watch through, did it change your perception of it? Or do you still like this to the extent that you liked it the first time around?
That's probably about the same extent. I mean, it's a good movie.
Yeah, it is a good movie. I didn't remember it being this good of a movie, actually.
It's just not... It's not particularly exceptional. Like, it's not like a must-see in any regard, even if it is good. I don't know.
I'll give it this. The violence is shocking and intense.
Right.
Truly, really out of left field and brutal when it happens. And not only that, strangely true to life feeling. Like, I feel like, you know, there's a lot of over dramatization to kills in movies like, you know, Halloween or Friday the 13th or something like this, where death scenes last way too long, or it's just, you know, the person lets a big long wailing scream, or yada yada. Whereas this treats it with like this really cold, like quick finality and certainty that's just like, oh no, we just gutted him. And then he kind of gurgled out and he was done. And it's very shocking when these things happen. And in that regard, I kind of like, they hit me with the paddles, you know. It was like, oh, whoa, I'm back here. I'm back into this movie. Like, wow. So I think I had a better time this second time around than I had the first time. And I will say that most of your criticisms of it are pretty fair. Like, these characters are apathetic youth surrounded by militant white supremacists, and you kind of go, okay, so a bunch of scumbags and amongst a bunch of other scumbags, so who's worse? Kind of, but obviously the white supremacists are worse. But
it reminds me of the Homer Palooza episode on Simpsons, where it's like, oh, there's that guy that gets shot in the stomach with a bowling ball. Here's pretty cool.
Are you being sarcastic, man?
I don't even know anymore.
Right.
So it's like you see these like total apathetic
disaffected
band
youth.
members. They're like, oh yeah, it's white supremacist like Nazi and swastikas all over your band venue. I'm like, whatever, man. I'm too cool to care.
I'm still
about
playing.
that.
They're paying us $100, bro.
Like, okay.
How high can your standards really
like
be?
How much can you really care about someone that's like, I don't really want to. I'm fine with being here. Like, I don't know. It's just, there's something about me that's just like, I don't know. Just turns me off when people are like, yeah, I can hang around for a while.
Yeah. No, you have a really good point. I think if you don't stand up and be like, I'm going to leave now, then you're at least a little bit to blame in what happens to you. But that's a little bit what this movie's about, right? It's like, well, I don't want to stand up and leave because then maybe they'll do something about that.
Sure.
You've entered a dangerous situation.
It would be nice if they set that up a little better.
Yes.
You know.
Yeah. Anywho, so I enjoyed this to about the tune of I'd say a 7 out of 10.
Okay.
But I could easily be pushed down to a 6.
Yeah. If you're listening to any commercials right now, you should know that you don't have to. You can go to our Patreon and subscribe and get rid of those commercials. Get early access once we finish editing the episode at a certain tier. I'll let you figure out which one. Also, check out our resident artist, Dustin Goebel. He's a professional artist who fucks hard. He also takes commissions for artwork from HMT fans. Contact him at dgoebel00. That's at DGOEBEL00. Make your artistic dreams come true. Call us at 682-253-4468 to leave us a voicemail. And with that, let's talk about some spoilers.
Yeah, let's get a little taste.
Spoilers. Okay. Yeah, so, I mean, we're introduced to these people, and they're siphoning gas for their band trip. And it makes me ask the question, like, maybe you're not really ready for touring yet? If, like, to go to your band venue, you have to siphon gas repeatedly.
I'm so
It's like-
excited for this episode now that I realize the math that you're doing and applying to these punks.
Yeah.
which is conservative Mormon math.
No, I mean, it's like, what?
I'm so happy.
I guess what point is it? No, I guess that's punk.
It's not that it's punk. It's that these are a bunch of kids that have a ton of energy and it's going into their music, and they got nowhere else to be. They got nothing else to do. They don't got jobs. They don't want jobs. What they want is to play their music to fans. So this thing
Sure.
where you go, maybe you kids should get it together, flies in the face of what these kids even want to do in the first place, you know?
Okay,
Look
fair.
at how old you are.
Fair. And so they travel all the way and like siphon gas, and they get to the place where they're supposed to play a show, and the promoter's like, oh yeah,
About that.
a bunch of people took a shit in the venue, so I'm not really welcome there anymore. But tell you what, I've got the Waffle House marked in.
You guys want to go down to Bob's Big Boy and play there?
So they like do a concert in front of like 5 people eating waffles.
1, 2, 3, 4, fuck you, fuck you, fuck you. And it's like, I'm trying to eat my waffles. Can you not?
Right.
Oh.
And they get what, like $6
Yeah.
from it.
And 81
7 cents,
cents.
yeah.
Yeah.
Ew.
So they kind of get upset with the promoter, and the promoter's like, I can make this good. Let me set you up with my Nazi cousin. Play his venue. And they're like, okay,
Well,
sounds great.
I love how he intros it. He's like, listen, you're gonna it's a different crowd, okay? They're conservative. I guess technically actually they're pretty like extreme left.
What was the phrase that they use? Like skins and something.
I can't remember
I
that.
can't remember.
But he goes, they're pretty conservative, although I guess you'd technically call them pretty far left. Which, you know, when you get into either extreme, you're just in the horseshoe.
Right.
You know, it's like, oh, we're back around to the other side.
Yeah.
Because there is no difference in the extremes. But yeah, this thing where he's like, yeah, maybe play your old stuff, like your much more aggressive stuff. Mm-hmm. They're going to like that more. It's going to play better.
Yeah, and I'm like, so they get to this venue, and there's just swastikas everywhere, like
SS,
Nazi, white power, woo, and like
yeah,
everyone's aggressively skinhead, and
God help you if Fart Simpson gets a hold of this episode. God help you. You're gonna be part of the SS.
So they start playing, and this is another place where it's kind of weird, and maybe I just don't have the ear for it. They play their first song, and everyone's like, boo, fuck you, boo.
Well, because their first song is "Fuck Nazi Punks."
Oh, is that what they're saying?
Yeah.
Okay, maybe that's what it is.
Yeah, it's one of these. I don't know I don't know which band it is. I'll be wrong no matter what. But you know,
it's a cover.
Yeah, it's a cover. There's a lot of different. There's a lot of different varieties of punks. There's anarcho punks. There's all these different, and a big portion of the punk community does not like the Nazi punks. Take a stab at why. But yeah, so they're obviously they knew their crowd and they knew they were telling them to fuck off. So yeah, they're still playing the show and they're still accepting money from the Nazis.
Oh, okay.
But they're getting their dig in by saying fuck you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Certain, like, just that specialized, pretentious, like, self-aggrandizing, like, way of
Chef's kiss.
of compromising your morality.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Being like, we'll make it okay because we'll start the show by saying fuck you.
Mm-hmm.
That's how we should start all our shows.
Yeah.
Fuck you.
Fuck Michael Myers. Fuck Puppet Master.
He's like a
Big dirty
raccoon.
Big dirty raccoon, David.
So they play their show, and they get embraced by the Nazis, I guess, to a certain extent. And then they go back and they're informed that like the green room's not available. They've moved all their stuff out to the car. The other band has come and they needed to be in the green room, the headlining band. And then maybe
from Arrested
Development's like, oh no, I forgot my phone.
Aaliyah Shawkat is in this,
and she goes back to get her phone from the green room, and she opens it and sees a girl dead on the floor with a knife in her head.
Yeah, it's a pretty impressive sight. It's
Right.
very gut-wrenching. And this is what I do like about this movie. It just feels like something that has happened many times.
Oh, yeah.
You know?
Yeah, it's definitely like a world that this bar could definitely exist.
And where they shot this between Astoria and Portland. And, I mean, if we're being honest, that's probably where this stuff happens.
Right. The one thing I would think, maybe it wouldn't be as crowded, but maybe that's being too optimistic.
Yeah, I don't know.
So they stumble on this crime scene, and immediately they try to call the police, and that
I love this for, I don't know, maybe the best reason, which is, oh, you're a bunch of punks, huh? The first thing you do when you see a crime is call the police, huh? Okay. All right. Well, I guess that shows how far that rhetoric goes.
Right.
How committed you are to that.
Anarchy.
Excuse me, sir. There's been a murder. It's like, isn't this what you wanted? Anarchy? What did you think anarchy meant? Did you was there a good part of it?
So they call and like they immediately like get shoved into this green room and basically trapped by the venue manager, and was like, fuck, just chill out, everyone, chill out, everything's fine, don't worry about it, don't leave this room, don't worry about it.
and he leaves in there with them. He leaves Big Justin,
right?
Literally his name in the movie, Big Justin. They have some great names in this
right.
compound. There's Worm. There's Tiger. There's Big Justin. So
yeah,
casting was pretty good.
Casting was good.
I will say, not a lot of diversity though. Not a lot of diversity. I could have used, I'm just saying, it just felt really white.
Well, there was someone that was English.
Oh, that's true.
So.
Oh, but that's the same. Speaking of casting, Anton Yelchin, does he remind you of anyone? We sometimes play a game.
Poor Man?
Poor Man, yeah. Anton plays the main character, Pat, the lead singer of the band. And it's not coming to you off the bat, but every time I saw him, I was like, Elijah Wood?
No,
yeah. Elijah,
a little bit. Yeah,
Elijah, excuse me, may I have a moment? Anyway.
Yeah, there's a little bit of that, definitely.
Yeah.
So they get trapped in there, and then Mirror Picard shows up and starts plotting. Like he's the head of the neo-Nazis in the area, and he's like figuring out how to cover up this murder and protect his own, because they are superior, right?
Well, the girl got killed by the band, the headlining band,
right.
The guy from the headlining band.
Yeah.
And as he's leaving the room to go play on stage, to basically just be like, okay, I murdered a girl, bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye. He says to our lead character, Pat, he goes, what was that second to the last song that you played? Oh, yeah, that was a badass song, man. That's the song I did her to. Like, that's the song I poked the knife into her skull on. I was like, wow, it's such a dark fucking thought.
Yeah. One of my first questions about this movie is, why does only one band member has a phone?
They're siphoning gas.
Yeah, but everyone in that situation would still have like a Walmart like phone card phone.
Maybe. Yeah, I suppose maybe, but yeah, I'm not sure exactly why they did the phone situation the way they did. In my opinion, this compound is a very remote place, and you could have easily solved this problem with just the fact that there is no cell service in between Astoria and Portland.
Right.
Period.
Yeah.
No 3G either. No.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's all just kind of a deep woods feel to it anyway.
So there's that, but it's a like the story of them being trapped in the green room is compelling. It's like a pretty great situation, especially as you're like going back and forth between Patrick Stewart like plotting, and there's this certain amount of dramatic irony of you knowing what's going to happen to him, and then when they're coming to the door is like, hey guys, we're working it out. Everything's fine. The cops figured it out. No worries. Just need that gun that you got in there.
Need your cooperation real bad here. We got a situation. We don't. Yeah, it's again. This is the thing that I kind of like about it. The dialogue feels real. Like the situation, it's exactly how you would expect kind of a shrewd neo-Nazi to kind of play. Like,
right.
I understand the law. That's why I continue to operate.
Right. Yeah.
Well,
it's also like
I have committed multiple felonies. I can get away with it. I'm that guy.
Right. Yeah, there's probably the best character development is for Darcy. It's played by Patrick Stewart, because he's the owner of the club and like the leader neo-Nazis. To where it's like he's obsessed with fire codes in the club. He's like, he sees like something in the hallway and he's like, that's not a code. Get it out of here. It's like, yeah, because he's shrewd. He knows what needs to be done to keep the law off his back.
Yeah, he understands it, and I really appreciate the realism in this, is because it's like, ooh, I bet this is how it works.
Yeah. So as Mira Picard is plotting, he sees in they're like snooping around their van. They see the siphoning materials, and he's like, okay, well, there's our out. We're going to set them up to be siphoning our car, and I guess be justified in murdering them. That was still kind of unclear of like, how does that make it better that you murdered them for siphoning gas?
Well, two wrongs make a right.
Right. So they're setting up their hit squad of red laces guys, which apparently means
true believers.
True believers.
Yeah, there's a lot of white supremacist rhetoric and stuff going on in this, and yeah, they do have a lot of, I imagine, accurate phrases and turns of phrase for that.
Mm-hmm. Eventually gets to a point where like they're trying to actually get him out of the room, and they want to exchange the gun for the phone, or they want the gun out of the room to make sure everyone's on a level head. Don't worry about it. Just give the gun. Like, we don't want to hurt anyone. We just want you guys to go. And then the band demands a phone in exchange. And this is where it turns the corner, because he like puts the gun out to reach out for the phone and
grab his hand, pull his arm out.
Yeah, pull his arm out, and you just see him screaming in agony. You don't see what's going on.
Ugh.
And when he pulls his hand back, it's just mauled from like machetes and stuff.
It is hacked to bits.
Right.
It's just completely hacked to bits. It's very
right.
It's one of the most upsetting scenes I've seen in a long time.
Right. And this is one of the things that okay, this I will admit this is nitpicky, but also why? Why are none of the stab wounds or slashes like bleeding ever? Like, his arm would be covered in blood. You wouldn't even be able to see what's going on if they had slashed it that much.
Yeah, there is no blood in this movie.
Yeah, and then like they make it a point to since the police were called and they like cut off the 911 call, 911 called back, and they like, oh yeah, there was a stabbing. So they're trying to cover it up, and they get two Nazis to take the fall, which is basically, we got to get you guys to stab one of the other ones to have a stabbing that can be reported. And they make it a point of like showing the stabbing, but the guy doesn't bleed at all.
Right.
It's just like, oh, they show two cuts. Which, if I was like in the Amber Lamps, I would be like, you called this an hour ago and there's no blood on this guy's shirt? Like, what's going on here?
It is a strange choice, but it does feel like an intentional one because there is a lot of violence in this movie and almost no blood. And not just violence. We're talking about like hacking people up.
Right.
Eviscerating them.
Right.
And it's not like the violence to the flesh isn't shown. It's just shown sans blood. So like there's this one scene where the skin comes apart and you see the fat below, and it's just I feel like they're just trying to show off a weird cool effect.
Maybe they just had a real strict budget, and then they're like, oh, shit, guys, we can't afford any corn syrup and red food dye. Like, what are we? Well, no one's gonna notice. It's fine.
But that being said, without the blood, it's plenty gross in a different way.
Yeah, it's effective. It's like one of those things that I didn't notice until second viewing, but it's like they're going for reality. They're going for like realism, very much so in this movie, to where it's like that was on this viewing kind of distracting.
Agreed.
So they have this bodyguard in there with them the whole time, and eventually they just decide to choke him out, to make him not a liability.
Well, one of them is a wrestler, so he can really put the moves on him.
Yeah. And then the girl that's not associated with the van, but was her friend that got stabbed in the head, she just straight up guts him with a box opener.
Yeah. Again, one of these moments that just shocks you back into the movie. You're like, whoa, she just, like, everything was going fine, and then she just out of nowhere comes with this incredibly violent act that starts and ends just like that.
Right. Whew. Yeah. In the beginning, when they were interviewed by the promoter or journalist or whatever, one of the questions that was asked was, what's your desert island band that you would pick? And they all come up with, kind of punk band names or stuff that's, people wouldn't, in the scene, wouldn't be upset about. And then eventually gets to a point where maybe Funky, Sam, Aaliyah Shawkat, she says, my desert island band is Simon and Garfunkel. She changes because we're getting more honest now.
Yeah.
And then Anton Yelchin, the whole time, he's like indecisive about his, which is supposed to be like, I don't know what that's supposed to tell you about the character.
It's yeah.
What's he, an
It's a bit of
overthinker,
a cop out. It's a bit of a cop out at unearned character depth.
Yeah.
It's like,
but it does have the best earned moment of the movie, which is the very end. He's like, I've got my desert island band, and then the girl that was with him that's not with the band was like, tell someone who gives a shit. Which is a great way to end it. You never, but then it goes in, the credits are played over Creedence Clearwater Revival, so it's kind of implied that that's who his band is.
Oh, by the way, great one. Yeah, that girl who told him who gives a shit, that's Imogen Poots. She's been in a ton of horror movies. I think she was in Vivarium. And 28 Weeks Later. Yeah. She's been in some horror movies, that's for sure. Black Christmas 2019.
Quality stuff.
Remember that one? Ugh.
So eventually they decide to go out and make their stand. Also, I guess they discover some kind of meth lab below them, which goes nowhere.
Yeah.
They never really... I guess there's drugs, and that's all you need to know.
Yeah, it's a bit of a who cares, because it's like you need more reason to hate the white supremacists,
right?
But on the other hand, it makes sense because it's
right.
like, how are these people getting all this money? It's like, well, obviously they're making drugs.
So they make their stand and they go out and they have all these, fashioned weapons. And they open the door and go out and no one's there.
Right.
Like everyone's exited the building. But they soon realize that they're surrounded and like the dogs are sent in and it's pretty violent and some of them get out and then are immediately murdered.
It's kind of weird. This is a form of violence you don't hear a lot about, which is white-on-white violence. And specifically, white supremacist on white violence. It's like, what would you say you're trying to accomplish here? Are you for the white people or not?
Turns out some of them aren't supreme.
I'm so sorry. No, but do you have any white supremacist stories? Do you have any run-ins with white supremacists?
No. I mean, other than my family, but...
Just jokes. No. When I went to my first concert ever in, I think it was 2000, it was Tattoo the Earth. It was Ozfest, basically. There was Slipknot, there was Ozzy, there was Slayer. And I remember toward the evening when Slayer came on, like the crowd changed. And I was in 7th or 8th grade, just a kid. And there was the Slayer concerts have a decent amount of skinheads. They're kind of like the deadheads that follow them around. And I didn't know this at the time, and I got hit in the head by a flying Jack Daniels bottle. I mean, knocked out. Really, really actually clocked me very good. And I just was, that stunned version of knocked out. And this big, hulking, completely like shiny-headed bald with tattoos all over his face walked up and bent over with extreme concern. Because I was a little kid, basically, at a metal show, and he grabs me by the shirt. I just remember how powerful he was. And he picked me up, and he stood me upright, and he goes, "Are you okay, little buddy?" And I was like, "I don't what?" And he was like, "Oh, you're real concussed. We got to get you to the medical tent." And then he picked me up like a baby, and he just carried me to the medical tent. And that ever since then, I realized...
You've realized, these skinheads are good people.
White supremacists care a lot about white people. He saw the whitest little kid on earth get clocked in the head, and he was like, "I must act."
You make a good point, David. They're not all bad.
I did. That was not my point. But that's your family's point. Why don't you tell me what I don't know?
So, they get basically preyed upon. About half the band in that first volley gets eliminated. And they get pushed back in. The thing that they discover is that dogs don't like feedback. So they put a mic against the speaker and that got the doggies away.
Right.
And then they send in some more skinheads. It's just basically back and forth between they're about to get out to let's send in more skinheads. Oh, they defeated the skinheads. Oh, stuff happens, but I don't care. It's
a very Scooby-Doo sort of scenario. And I'd have gotten away with it too if it weren't for you punks.
Yeah. There's a couple moments where they have a shotgun.
Yeah.
The easiest, most powerful gun to have in this kind of situation, they still fuck that up. Buh! I don't like the ground now.
Everyone in all these kinds of movies is always so impressively good with handguns.
Right.
It's fucking impossible to hit shit when you're holding a handgun with one hand,
right,
at arm length, and pew, 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 pew.
Right.
But in these movies, it's just every shot's just dead center mass, takes them down. Yeah. I don't like guns. Bang, bang, bang. But I kill 4 people with 4 shots.
Right.
It's what?
So eventually they send in these guys, these skinheads. One wave of skinheads comes in and they get into the green room, and then you find out that one of the skinheads was the boyfriend of the girl that got murdered. And all of a sudden...
Yeah. Okay. Yes. Yeah.
There was some... And then it's revealed that he's some kind of traitor to the white race. And so, like, he ends up helping them a little bit, the band, to get out, but immediately gets murdered. That's kind of the through line is, like, if anything goes good, someone's going to get murdered immediately.
I'm just imagining Fart cutting up everything you say in this whole episode. I love it.
And then they get away and they come upon Mirror Picard setting up their van, and they ambush him and kill him. Oh, and the other notable thing is the guy, like the venue manager. That's kind of great. Like, he's coming up to him as they just murdered all of the skinheads that they sent to him.
Yeah.
Sent to them. And,
yeah.
And he's like blowing off
he's like pressure washing the blood off of
right.
the non-blood.
And he comes up and looks at him. He's like, I just want to go to jail. It's like, I don't want to get murdered. I don't give a fuck. Just let me go to jail.
I'm just trying to manage a nightclub here.
Right. He's the one character that's pretty interesting, and like, he just looks like he's just trying to do his job.
Yeah, I think his name is Gabe in the movie.
Yeah.
And Gabe is, he's just, it seems like another night for Gabe. It seems like, another one of these weekends.
Another night of bullshit.
How is your evening, honey? It seems like every month has to have one of these murders.
Some woman got her head stabbed again.
You know how it is. Well, they have that low ceiling when you're going down the stairs, and every time you hit your head on the,
So anyways, they get more white supremacy than they bargained for.
Bryce, can you chill out, please? You calm down.
So who would like this, other than white supremacists? Or would white supremacists like this?
This is on the top of white supremacists' most hated movies, which is saying something because it casts all white people. So interesting turn of events there. But, yeah, I mean, I feel like the Don't Breathe audience would in particular...
Yeah.
It feels like a Don't Breathe lane.
Yeah, I agree.
Like, it just feels so... It's got some weird energy that doesn't make a lot of sense, but that's kind of okay, too.
Right.
And it's also hyper-realistic at the same time that it doesn't quite make perfect sense, so...
And no one's likable in it. That's the other commonality, is, like, there's no one that you're really rooting for in this movie other than, like, well, you're supposed to root for the band because... they're not white supremacists, so obviously.
Yeah, if you're taken by like edgy nihilism, then this, this will easily hit that. And it is not a bad movie, and you get to see a lot of skinheads get murdered brutally.
Yeah,
brutally. Or also, if you don't like white people, also pretty good movie. Pretty good, because a lot of them die in this.
Alrighty. Was there any other bit you wanted to talk about? Oh, okay.
The interesting thing about Green Room is it is a bit of a one-trick pony.
Yeah.
But it is good at that trick.
Okay, moving on. We have a new game called Color Me Titled.
Okay. What is this game?
So this game, I'm going to read you the synopsis and give you some... I'll even give you more than that. I'll give you the director and the stars of these movies, and you have to guess the title. And all of these titles have colors in the title.
These are real movies.
These are real movies plucked straight from Hollyweird.
And not all horror movies, I suppose.
They are all horror movies.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Okay. From 1974, a jazz pianist and a wisecracking journalist are pulled into a complex web of mystery after the former witnesses the brutal murder of a psychic. I'm going to skip the director because that might be too easy. Stars David Hemmings, Daria Nicolodi, and Gabrielle Lavia.
This is a 1974 movie?
75.
75 movie. Could you read the description?
A jazz pianist and a wisecracking journalist are pulled into a complex web of mystery after the former witnesses The Brutal Murder of a Psychic. I'll give you another clue if you don't want to guess. I think you started watching this movie. But the clue is the director is Dario Argento.
Oh, Deep Red.
You got it. Deep Red.
Boy, I did start watching this. Oof. Woof.
All right, from 1999.
So I get 1 point?
You get 1 point. We got 7 of these.
Okay.
From 1999, searching for a cure to Alzheimer's disease. Well, you can yell it out once you get it. A group of scientists on an isolated research facility become the bait as a trio of intelligent sharks fight back.
Deep Blue Sea.
You got it.
Oh, what a great... That's like one of my ultimate, like, just feel good cable movies. Right up there with Tremors, Deep Blue Sea.
Okay, these get harder now.
Oh, dear.
1960, a vengeful witch and her fiendish servant return from the grave and begin a bloody campaign to possess the body of the witch's beautiful look-alike descendant, with only the girl's brother and a handsome doctor standing in their way. Director is Mario Bava. Stars Barbara Steele, John Richardson, and Andrea Cecchi.
How shocked would you be if I got this one?
A little shocked.
It's
a pretty famous movie.
Would you know this one? But based on...
I might be able to pull it out, like, on a really good day, because I just recently read about... I almost picked this one for a pretentious review.
Oh. This is just a total guess. Blue Moon?
Nope. Black Sunday.
Oh, okay.
This is supposedly a pretty influential movie. Okay, 1932.
Ugh. Oh, man.
A young man returns to a witch doctor to lure the woman he loves away from her fiancé, but instead turns her into a zombie slave. Director...
White Zombie.
White Zombie. You got it.
Yeah.
All right. Wow, you got
3. I got 3 out of
4.
4.
Wow, you did great. Good job.
Yeah.
So you only need one more to win.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, just to beat the 50% threshold.
Right. 2008, set in a small town in upstate New York at a prison-like dilapidated insane asylum where secret drug testing has gone inexplicably wrong. Patients are dying in sick and twisted ways, and those who survive are becoming raging, homicidal lunatics. It's only a matter of time before all hell breaks loose and the patients begin to crave freedom to take their vengeance out on the world outside. When one patient does escape, deformed, angry, and far beyond insane, he brings death and terror to an unsuspecting town and everyone in it. Director is James Adam Tucker. Stars Melissa R. Basilar and Joshua Nelson and Joshua James.
Would you know this one?
No.
It's super deep cut.
It's a deep cut.
Oh, boy, man. I got nothing. I just got 0.
This one's Pink Eye.
Oh, okay. I would not have guessed.
It's a horror movie about people farting into pillows.
Oh, no! Fart. F-A-R-T.
Okay, from 1985, in a small town, brutal killings start to plague the close-knit community. Marty Koslaw, a paraplegic boy, is convinced the murders are the doings of a werewolf. Director Daniel Arias, starring Gary Busey, Everett McGill, and Corey Haim.
Holy moly, Corey Haim and Gary Busey in a werewolf movie together?
Yep. Color in the title.
Yeah, you wouldn't know this one, would you?
On a very, very, very good day. I mean, if you racked your brain for every 1980s werewolf movie that you should probably know about, this would be one of them. One of the two, really.
There's somebody out there listening to the podcast being like, "It's this stupid." He is Joe. He's just he's fucking it all up. He's doing it bad. Gary Busey, Corey Haim, come on.
Oh, writer is Stephen King, if that helps.
Oh, that might help. Okay, Werewolf, Stephen King, Color, Gary Busey, Corey Haim. Color Out of Space. 1986.
Wrong. Silver Bullet.
Shit.
I know.
Shit.
I know.
I just was thinking about this movie for some reason.
So close.
I need to get one more
Damn it.
point.
Damn it.
Fuck you, man.
Okay. 1988. An anthropologist goes to Haiti after hearing rumors about a drug used by black magic practitioners to turn people into zombies. Director Wes Craven stars Bill Pullman, Kathy Tyson, and Zake Smokey.
Man, you're fucking with me here. I don't know. Hang on. Okay, Wes Craven.
This one is going to be funny.
Okay. I'm really surprised that none of your movies ended up being Blue Ruin. I had Blue Ruin pocketed. But okay, so Wes Craven, who was in it?
Bill Pullman.
Bill Pullman. Oh, rip.
Kathy Tyson, Zake Smokey.
I don't care about them. Okay, so Black Magic Voodoo, 1988.
Yeah.
What's the description again? I'm not.
An anthropologist goes to Haiti after hearing rumors about a drug used by black magic practitioners to turn people into zombies.
Man, why are you doing me dirt like
Man,
this?
you were so close. I gave you hope.
Would you have gotten it?
No.
What is it? I don't know.
The Serpent and the Rainbow.
Oh, shit! But that's not a color.
Yeah, it's rainbow.
Yeah, it's
Rainbow
a
color.
variety of color. A rainbow color. Serpent in the rainbow.
What makes it better is Fart Simpson just mentioned
was,
it.
Yeah. I liked how he was concerned, like that we were having a tiff, and he became concerned about it. He's like, "Whoa, we're not breaking up the band here." I was like, "Bitch, this is called fucking Saturday."
You know, every time we get in like a little tiff, I realize like, oh, this is what he's been stewing on. Like, I know exactly what you've been stewing
Yeah,
on.
I've been stewing on it, you dumb big idiot. So dumb.
I'm like, oh.
This thing
okay.
where you get to talk down to me about my technical abilities, meanwhile simultaneously being like, can you help me with my technical?
Okay, first, I've never talked down to you about your technical abilities. That's what you feel I'm doing.
Well, yeah, by virtue of your actions and then you were eye rolling.
So this started last night when Dan was saying, like, this is the buttons you need to press. And
I'll take up this.
And I said, I'll take care of it. Not because of your technical ability. I'm condescending because your memory is not as good as mine. And I didn't
that
think you
makes it. Thank you so much. I'm so happy. My memory isn't as good as you.
Well,
it's not. It's let me tell you, it's real fucking good when it comes to this shit.
I know.
Remember this
It's a steel trap if I offend you. The next time I want you to remember something, I'll be like, hey, little bitch, this is how it's done. You fucking moron. You'll be like,
yeah.
So that was one.
That's definitely how to do it.
And then you were like, oh, this, you can't hear the sound bites on this thing. And I disagreed. I was like, no, it's fine. And then you wanted to adjust it.
Yeah.
And I was like, all right, whatever. I didn't want to disagree with you more. I just wanted to let you do whatever you wanted to do. And I think you interpreted that as
that's not how it went.
Passive-aggressive.
I started moving something and you quickly ran over and acted as though I couldn't put it back myself.
No. One was you were trying to turn up the volume and I was telling you where to turn it up. And
you didn't know, by the way. It didn't end up being the thing you touched.
No, it was my computer because I turned down my computer.
But that helped to an extent. But
sure,
it didn't.
So that was another one.
Needed.
And then when you're on stage, you're doing a sound check, and you were trying to turn on the microphone. I told you not to because it would waste the battery.
That didn't bother me.
Which ended up not mattering because it lost battery anyways.
I can't believe the amount of baloney
This should all be on the afterpod.
Yeah.
Is what we're talking.
Yeah.
Anyways, that was our episode for Green Room.
Yeah, stick around for the afterpod on this one.
So if you want to support the show, please go to our website, horrormovietalk.com. If you're going to buy anything on Amazon, you should know that you can click through the button in our banner and we'll get a little taste of that. Also, of course, Patreon is the best way to support us directly. If you want to call and leave us a voicemail, 682-253-4468. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
We love you. Bye.
Hello and welcome to Horror Movie Talk.
An opinionated and accidentally funny horror movie review show. Go, 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 go.
Just took a stroll through the scraggly woods.
He had no face! Horror! Sabrina, don't just stare at it, eat it.
New theatrical releases always get priority.
But we also review older horror movies, both good and horrible.
Wow, that didn't sound good.